Yes, I see Russian flags all around the protests in the north. And many people are asking questions, what does this signify? A Russian flag in our protests? Does it mean that there's another agenda? Does it mean that the protest is not just about end bad governance or a hunger protest? Now, it is something that has to do with Russia. If you don't know, there are interests in this country and everybody has his own agenda. What is the let's start with the geopolitical zones. Let's start with the southeast, the southwest, and the north. What is the agenda of the southeast? The agenda of the southeast is to create or go back to Biafra. That is the agenda of the southeast, is to make sure that Biafra is actualized, because they don't find hope or they don't find fairness, they don't find any future in present day Nigeria. What is the agenda of the southwest? The southwest is to the southwest, the agenda is to make sure that they do all they can to make sure Tinubu completes 8 years, and if it is possible, they divide the country. That is my perspective. That is what I see the southwest doing at this point in time. They are raising all manner of machineries to make sure Tinubu stays in power, because at this point in time, the southwest is at the table where the national cake is being shared. So their agenda is to make sure that they do all they can, whether it is propaganda, whatever they can, to win the next election, because Tinubu is going to stay till 2027. Whatever they can to keep Tinubu 8 years, and probably they go regional. The southwest is positioning itself for whatever breakup that Nigeria may experience, which is inevitable, because looking at the way the country is being run, or the way things are going, the way interests are on the line, you don't believe that Nigeria will stay long or stay united for long. Now, one thing that baffles me is the interest or the agenda the North has. Let's divide it into two. The North has an agenda to Islamize the whole country, to conquer, let's say the Fulani agenda, to conquer the country, to Islamize everybody and make sure they conquer lands, they put their emiracy as they have done in the north. They are trying to extend it to the south and also to the west. One agenda of the north. And with Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the northern agenda is to make sure that they unseat him. He has not represented their interests. They are fighting all they can, tooth and nail, to make sure that he does not prosper, he does not succeed in power. That is my perception about the northern agenda. The northern people are the ones that are fighting Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. You can see food crisis. There's a deliberate act by the north to make sure that there's scarcity of food crops, because the north usually, let's say, they are the ones that feed the nation. As we speak, most of the cash crops we have from we sustain ourselves with in Nigeria is from the north. So the northern agenda is to also unseat President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That is where the Russian flag comes in. It is not about end bad governance. It's not about hunger protests. It's about an underlying feature which some politicians in the north want to see, that Tinubu is unseated. He is destroying the influence of the north on Nigeria. That is why some people voted for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, so that he can make the north irrelevant when it comes to power, which will eventually lead to the balkanization of Nigeria. So when you see Russian flags, know that it is about the Western interests. Who are the West? Who are those interested in Nigeria? The major interests, we have China, we have United States, we have United Kingdom, we have Russia. These are people that are majorly interested in Nigeria, and it is believed that the US has an influence on Nigeria and on the Nigerian political space. Sorry, United States have an influence on our leaders. And you know, United States and Russia, they are not in good terms. They're having issues against themselves. When you look at Niger Republic, during the protests, you saw Russian flags. The Russian interest helped the Nigerians push out France out of Niger Republic. this is an all-out war between NATO and BRICS, between United States, its allies, and Russia. They are bringing their war from Ukraine, from the West. They are bringing it to Africa. So the North is sending a message to President Bola Tinubu that we are not satisfied with your government, either ways, whether it is through bad governance, or it is through hunger protest, or it is through saying that we have alignment with the Russian interest to push you out of office. Because, like it or not, know it or not, believe it or not, the United States foreign influences are so powerful that they can remove a government. The powers that foreign influences has, the West, Europe has, is much more than what we have locally. When Jonathan was taken out of power, he said something that it was Obama's government that sent him out. It was Obama's government. There are things that these Western authorities, Western influences do that can affect a government. So when you see Russian flags in Nigeria, just know that they have taken their battle to the shores of Africa and also the biggest black nation on earth. President Bola Tinubu should be careful with all this. These things signify so many things. In Niger, looking at their protest, you saw Russian flags, and people thought that it was just a kind of cacophony. This is not play. This is a serious thing. Their interest, people are looking at how they can, the West is looking at how they can exert their influence totally on Africa, because Russia is interested. They are directly sending a message to President Bola Tinubu that we are telling the West to push you out of office so that we'll have our way. We are losing our grip on power. You are making us powerless in Nigeria. Yes, I will give Tinubu his flowers for that. He has made the North inconsequential in the scheme of things, and the West, the Southwest, is there. So Nigeria is run by agendas. Everybody, the unity of Nigeria that people say is non-negotiable, it is for the elite and those that are gaining from the pot of soup Nigeria is cooking, from the national cake that Nigeria has. Those are the ones that are saying the unity Nigeria has is non-negotiable. No, it is negotiable. Each region has its agenda, and the agenda is spelling out, is playing out. It's no more hidden. It's something that you can deduct. The handwriting on the wall is getting clearer and clearer and clearer. The North, like I said, is a threat to President Bola Tinubu, not the East, not the South. We know that the Southwest wants to use propaganda to put Tinubu in power from what some of their minions are doing. I can't make bogus allegations when I see some facts on the ground, trying to gaslight a region. From one region, you gaslight another region, and you are doing that to put yourself in power. That's the more reason why when we talk about tribalism, the politicians are not into the tribalism we practice as Nigerians. They cause tribalism in our midst so as to remain in power. So that's one of the tools the Southwest is using, gaslighting. Now the Igbo say they are not going to join the protest, they are not going to be part of the protest. Well accepted. The Yorubas, in a way, they tried to gaslight Igbos not to join the protest. They tried to use some methods to victimize Igbos. This is how they do it. They accuse you of something that you're not really doing, and you just decide to stay off. You have not stolen something, they say you're the thief. And to show that you are not the thief, you stay away from anything that can make somebody call you a thief. That's what the Yoruba has done. First, they said the Igbos are the ones pioneering this protest. The reason why they are doing so is so that they can scare the Igbos away from protesting, because if the Igbos fully were involved in this protest, it would have had a little meaning in the South, not even in the North. In the South, they carefully played that propaganda tool, and I sat down here, I was watching. I knew that that was a tool that the Yorubas were playing to keep the Igbos off the protests. They were happy, especially those supporting APC. They were very happy that the Igbos issued a statement through Ohaneze and some of their leaders, the governors, that the Igbos would not be part of this protest. There are some underground machineries that Before the protest, they had to create a scenario of insecurity in the southeast. You saw police being killed, you saw people being killed. They had to instill that fear. They never stopped at gaslighting Igbos into hands, putting their hands off the protest. They also had to create fear by causing little insecurity. I will come to that broadcast because all of a sudden we are seeing Hope Uzodinma making a statement, and the next minute we see gunmen, unknown gunmen, causing havoc in Imo State and environs. They didn't stop at that, so they went to the north. They saw that the north were more than resolute to carry on this protest, and it's going to cause a big problem for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So to keep Tinubu in power, they continue with their gaslighting machinery to gaslight the northerners by telling them that it is the southeasterners that deceived you into going for protest, and look at this protest, you are destroying your facility, you are destroying this or that. This is what the Southwest have been doing. All this they are doing to make sure that Tinubu remains in power. They have different kind of people that defend Tinubu's mandate. You have some that are against, you have some that are on the fence, you have some that are in the opposition to act as an undercover. That is the Southwest, the game the Southwest is playing. Like I said, I've been understudying the kind of game these guys are playing. So the agenda of the Southwest is to keep President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in power till 2031, inshallah. They use the Muslim ticket to deceive the Northerners, and all of a sudden we found out that it did not represent that, in quote, Muslim ticket. The North, with their agenda, I don't know how it is going to agenda, but it is a threat to Bola Ahmed Tinubu's presidency, because everybody might shy away from protest, but in the North, they will not shy away. It is going to be very risky for the president to use harsh means, because I don't understand the reason why for protesters you are using live bullets. You aim to kill protesters that legitimately carrying out their constitutional right. Raising Russia flag is a testament to the fact that we are going to align with the enemies of the West to kick you out. Because when war was declared on Niger Republic, the North kicked against it because it was going to affect the boundary between Niger and the North. It was going to affect the Northerners. But Tinubu wanted to go on with that outright war against Niger Republic that will further devastate the North. So the North is choosing their alliance now. This is my perception. This is what I deduce from what is happening currently in the North. Flags are flying everywhere, Russian flag. And you know that Russia is making moves into Africa to counter the influence of the West. The United States have much more influence in Nigeria than the United Kingdom. In fact, the United Kingdom is an extension of the United States, or they are like people working a placeholder for the United States in Nigeria. Those that understand world politics, international politics, will understand what I'm saying. This is not just an ordinary protest. There are underlying interest. Probably some of these guys saw this beforehand, that there are some people that have an agenda that want to destabilize Tinubu's government, and the North will stop at nothing to destabilize Tinubu's government. That is why I said at this point in time, Tinubu is between the devil and the deep blue sea. There's nothing really he could do to salvage the current situation that we find ourselves, because those that are working against him are more than those that are working for him, especially in his cabinet. We expected that through his speech, he would have said he's going to sack some ministers, reshuffle his cabinet, he's going to reduce the salaries of all of them there in Abuja, he's going to cut costs. We expected that. Even though you don't remove fuel subsidy, become transparent in whatever you're doing. But all it came is to just brag to Nigerians and brag about how he did this, how he did that. That is not even reflecting on the lives of every Nigerian. It even provoked Nigerians that they are going to come out on the streets. Like I said, Tinubu may be Nigeria's last president, and he will be the one that may eventually divide the country, and everybody will go to their separate ways. Aligning with Russia is a threat to the sovereignty of Nigeria. And let's forget what is happening in the Southeast, the agenda that is happening in the Southeast. Some people are being sponsored by the federal government to keep the Southeast in this array. So the agenda of the Southeast is to, whatever means possible, we want to be out of the contraption and get to start with Biafra. That is the option the Southeast, the agenda the Southeast has. While the Southwest is building railways, is building refineries, using proxies, doing all they can to make sure that when Nigeria eventually divides, they will be viable to do whatever they want to do. To do whatever they want to do. So 3 nations having their agenda, and you tell me that Nigeria is united. No, Nigeria is not united. We are just borrowing time. Everybody is borrowing time to prepare for the doomsday. Although the North is not well prepared for doomsday, that is why they want to do all they can to make sure there's no Bola Tinubu in the presidency, or they force him to do their bidding. He gave them Ministry of Livestock, and yet they are not satisfied, and they still want to carry out more attacks on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. You see, at the end of the day, I know in Jagaban, when he was governor of Lagos, I know what he has done and what he's capable of doing. Like I said, and I repeat in my broadcast, Tinubu is going to complete 8 years. I don't know how he's going to do that, but he's going to eventually complete 8 years. And completing 8 years will be to the detriment of the North. At the end of the day, it is likely that Nigeria is going to balkanize, and we're going to be having a constitutional review whereby we have a regional system of government. Mark this word today. The Northerners are reading the handwriting on the wall. They are seeing the moves that the president is taking, and they know that it is dangerous for North and its politics. If Nigeria eventually divides today, the North will be one of the backward region or backward countries in the whole of Africa, because they are not prepared for doomsday. That's why they align with every force possible to threaten the West to remove President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. David Hundeyin, an investigative journalist, said that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is an asset to CIA and also United States, or is a intel, whatever. That he's a proxy of the United States in Nigeria. That is why the World Bank can issue any form of threat or policy and we adhere to it. The World Bank will just literally tell us what to do with our finances, and we do the same. So the battles that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is fighting, man, I don't know whether it is karma. I don't know whether it is some of the seeds he has sown. Imagine Kenya, Nigeria, protest. Rendition of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. At the end of the day, these two countries are under civil unrest. It started in Kenya and is also ending or continuing with Nigeria. So President Tinubu at this point should be careful. The Russian flags is not something you overlook. Yes, don't overlook that Russian flag. Let there be a probe into what is happening, what is going on. Those sponsoring this northern, because the northern protests will be intensifying in few days. Will be intensifying. So far, the North has not protested like this before. Mark my words, or you can correct me on the comment section. The North has not protested like this ever in the history of Nigeria. To show you that there are underlying people that are sponsoring this protest so as to destabilize the government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Already, the government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu is already destabilized. He's the only president, democratically elected president, that people started protesting in less than almost a year into his administration. There's no protest ever in Nigeria that is called hunger protest. There's no protest ever that is called hunger protest. End bad governance hunger protest. Knowing that well that Tinubu is mass strategist when it comes to protest. He has a reputation of protest in Nigeria, but he is reaping the fruit of his labor. The seed he has sown is germinating and is reaping the fruit. Karma is coming back. That is for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The North is hitting him very hard. The North and Southwest, their fight is going to be very, very sweet. The Southeast is just watching and seeing the drama unfolding. Not that the Southeast don't know that the Southwest is gaslighting them not to join this protest, because everybody's been affected. And also, even though there's going to be a Biafra or there's going to be an Oduduwa, your present state should be secured. You don't need to die. Presently, you need to secure your life. As for good governance. But just that, we know that there is a tussle between the North and the Southwest. And let's see who's going to win. But for Bola Tinubu, they should leave it. No matter the number of politicians in the North, no matter how influential you are, whether the Atikus or the Erufais or the Buharis, you cannot unseat President Bola Tinubu come 2027. That is just the gospel truth, and that is what is going to happen. The Russian, whatever, at least for now, will not have that influence enough to force the West, the United States, to push Tinubu out of power. Now, people that say Tinubu must go, if Tinubu leaves power now, who is going to take over? Is it Shetima? Is it Shetima? For those that are in support of Biafra, whatever that is going to happen for Nigeria to determine its future in regionalism, in restructuring or balkanization of the country, that is what we are in for. We are not in for the games that these guys are playing, the North and Southwest is playing. We are not in for the propaganda. We know their propaganda, but we are playing along because we are expecting that we have seen the future. We always see the future. We have predicted that Nigeria is bound for doom, and let us balkanize and restructure for the betterment and the good for everybody that has ever called himself a Nigerian. The North should continue in what they are doing. Let them be pushed by some elements to bring in Russia into the whole thing. Whenever you see the West and the Russian people clash, it is your country home, it is your state, it is your whatever, your land that will be desecrated, because these guys, they mean no well for you. Everybody just wanting to live over. Somebody says that it is better to have Western democracy than to have Russian communism. Remember, the North is a kind of communist state, so they will align with what the Russian people is going to sell to them, while the South here is Western liberal democracy and all have you. Let me see how far these people are going to go in removing Bola Tinubu with the influence of Russians, which the involvement of Russians will want to make United States pressure Tinubu to do what is right, or to wherever appease the North, or to wherever leave power. But don't forget, power is going to be in the South for 8 years, and after 8 years, whatever that it is that Nigeria is going to become, it is just God that can tell.